Yes, you've had fortune cookies, but have you had chocolate fortune cookies? Oh, let's go.
Bigfoot cooking.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Bigfoot Cooking, where today we are making something a little different. Now, I know all of you have had some fortune cookies. You go out to your Chinese restaurant, you grab yourself some logu, maigu, chi pai pan, or something like that. I'm not judging, whatever you like. And you get that little fortune cookie at the end. You're like, oh, this is really good. Why don't they make those in chocolate flavor? Well, you can at home, and we're doing it today. So let's get started. This is one of those things, it's more about technique than recipe, because as you make this, they come out the oven hot. And so you got to move quick and you got to have some tough fingers to do this. So for the ingredients on this, nothing real complicated. Actually, if you've ever made sugar cookies, this is pretty close to a sugar cookie. We're just making them chocolate. So to start out, we need 2 egg whites. Now, this is your egg before, and this is all we're after is we don't need the yellows on this. The yellows will give us more of a cakey feel than an egg roll feel, and we're looking for the crunch. So we got ourselves 2 egg whites. Now these, of course, these are large eggs too. Don't do quail eggs. You won't have enough egg if you do that. So 2 egg whites. We got a 1/2 cup of sugar, a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. Got to have the vanilla. Yes, even though this is a chocolate cookie, I mean, why can't you have chocolate and vanilla? It's like world peace in a recipe. We've got 1/8 teaspoon of salt. Now, if you don't have an 1/8 measurement, that's 2 pinches. Not a lot. Just to let a little bit of flavor. 2 teaspoons of cocoa powder or cacao powder or whatever the fancy label's got on the side of it. You want up some powdered chocolate. 1/2 cup of flour, and 4 tablespoons or a 1/2 stick of butter. And the ingredient that you don't really have, fortunes. That's right, it's not a fortune cookie without the fortunes. It's just a cool shaped cookie. And as you can see, we've got several fortunes to choose from. Now, some of these fortunes, in this case, I did them kind of big, so I may have to fold them in half to get them to fit in the cookie when we're done, but these are logistics. This isn't going to change how it tastes. And if you want to tease people and give them a fortuneless cookie just to confuse them, I'm not judging. You do what makes you happy. So let's get started on the cooking. Now, to start the cooking, we're going to take our 2 egg whites, slide them into our bowl. You don't need a very big bowl with this. The cookie is actually not got a lot of fluff to it, so it's not a big recipe to even make this. So that's why we're working out of a smaller bowl here. But we'll whisk these up, not till you get like egg whites. You went too far if you did that, but just enough to where they're starting to turn white, to start to get some of the air into it, and you stop there. You want them still runny. All right, and there we have it. Like you see, it's very runny. You're not really, no stiff peaks or nothing. You're just introducing a little bit of air into this. And from there, we're gonna pour in our sugar. That way we can mix our egg whites and our sugar. Matter of fact, before I get too far down the road, this would be a good time to turn the oven on. Get that guy going at 350, because that's what we're gonna need. Now with the sugar, honestly, I'm just using regular, good old fashioned sugar. But if you can get this as a finer grind, or you could even put it in your blender, or if you got one of them little coffee things, I don't know. But if you can blend this up a little bit to make it a fine powdery sugar, it'll actually mix into this better. But do not swap this out for powdered sugar. All right, powdered sugar has cornstarch in it, and well, that kind of changes the rules on how they cook. I'm not gonna say that I know this from experience, but I may know this from experience. All right, now that our sugar's good and mixed in, we'll dump in our vanilla, because you gotta have vanilla. I don't think there's anything you can't put vanilla in and make it better. All right, our 2 pinches of salt. All right, now for our flours, I'm actually gonna go ahead and run them through a little screen here, so that way we don't have any lumps or anything in it. So we'll take our 1/2 cup of flour, jump it in here, and our 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder. Set that guy in there. Let's go ahead and fluff them through. That way we don't have any big lumps. And like I say, you don't necessarily have to do this step, But cocoa, generally, you'll get little balls and lumps, and yes, they will whisk up and mix in, but this just makes things a little simpler for you. Saves you a little elbow work, because believe it or not, the whisk and this gets a little tiring. So in with our chocolatey flour here, and we'll swish this around for the mix. All right, once you get those guys mixed in, what you've got is pretty thick. But we got to add that one thing that makes this just go oh so smooth, and that's our butter. Now, obviously this is a little thick to mix in, so let's dump this into Chef Mike for about 30 seconds to a minute and see if Mr. Microwave can warm it up. All right, actually it warmed it up really good. I'm gonna let that actually cool back down just a little bit because, well, we do have egg whites in here, and I'm not after scrambled chocolate eggs. We're after fortune cookies. So let me give it just a moment. All right, now for the fun part, to see if I can get this to work with a camera, with the show, with. But you're gonna take your butter, because it's still just a little warm. We're gonna kind of drizzle it in and stir. This would be a good spot for 3 hands, so that way the bowl would stay put. All right, now just keep on mixing till everything gets incorporated. You know, it's funny, when I decided to do this, I actually got looking to see, you know, because you get these ideas in your head and you're thinking, you know, I want to do egg rolls. And it's like, no, I want to do this. And then I decided, you know what, I'll do fortune cookies. And as I'm looking at the fortune cookies, it occurred to me, nowhere could I find a really good recipe for chocolate fortune cookies. And I mean, does that right there not look nice? Here, stick it under here. Does that look nice and chocolatey and gooey? It amazed me that there's not like 500 recipes out there for some chocolate fortune cookies, but that's all right. When you whip these out, you'll be unique. You'll be special. You'll be the only one at the party with chocolate fortune cookies. Don't that make you special a little bit? All right, now as stove's hot. Now, as we're doing this and we're putting them on the pan, I'm actually gonna do these just one at a time for a minute, because doing this on camera and everything, you can mess up, all right? And we don't wanna mess these up. We want them to be really perfect. You can use parchment paper to do this, but the parchment paper is not a really like perfect release. I really recommend these silicone mats because they do not stick at all. So we got our mats on here. Let me go ahead and put this in the oven. I want this to go ahead and warm up just a little bit. So we're gonna need, like I say, 2 minutes just to heat the pans. When we pull them out, you're gonna want your muffin pan to set these guys into. Yeah, you could do it with some of these, but I found these are actually a little bit big unless you're making, well, we're making fortune cookies, not fortune books. So this right here is about the perfect shape. Let me warm this up, be right back. Now, the whole purpose for putting that in the oven and giving it a chance to warm up is, as you can see, the butter cools down a little bit and this stuff thickens up pretty good. Again, a lot of this is technique, so that's why I want to kind of show you the technique, and that way, well, you don't mess up, because it took me a few times to figure out how not to mess up. So this will go kind of quick, but let me show you. Let me grab our pan. All right, Scooby. Huh? Is there something here for you? No chocolate for the Scooby. All right, pan is warm. These circles right here are about 3 inches. You don't want to go much bigger than that. Like I say, maybe 4 inches if you've got a good one, but not too much. Get yourself I think this is about a half a tablespoon worth. And for now, we'll just dollop that guy right on there, and then take our spoon, the back of it, and as you can see, it kind of melts the butter down. And we're just gonna stir this around till we get our nice shape and we get this kind of thin. I want to show you kind of the process. And like I say, it's easier to show with a bigger fortune cookie than a smaller one. So we got this guy here. We're gonna just plop it in the oven. 10 minutes, like I say, your stove may vary. I had some batches that have turned out really good at 8 minutes, some of them that took 12. So about 10 minutes is the status. So give me 10 minutes, be right back while this is baking. And well, Benson may have a little info on fortune cookies. Let's see what he's doing. Did you know that fortune cookies are not actually from China? Believe it or not, they're closer related to something from Japan than from China. But Americans, oh, they took that baby and they ran with it and they made it their own. As a matter of fact, fortune cookies don't even sell well in China. They don't know what to do with it. It doesn't really make sense. But I hear Chef is making some with a brand new recipe that's going to be chocolate. That sounds delicious. All right, timer has timed. Let's see how we look. All right, we have us one little fortune cookie. Now, like I say, we'll do more on the second runs. I just want this first one to kind of show you the technique. So we come under it with our flipper, flip that bad boy over. Now this is where things get hot. We're gonna take our fortune. Now obviously, in this case, the fortune is way bigger than the cookie. And yes, you can print these out smaller and they'll fit better, but well, I'm having fun with this. So we've got our fortune right there. I'm gonna flip this cookie over. It's already starting to cool off. So see, this is where I'm taking my time and I'm taking too much time. I've got my flipped cookie, put it on the edge, kind of bend it down. That gives me my fortune cookie shape, and we'll set it right in there and let it cool off. That's it. That's all it takes to do a fortune cookie. So now that you've kind of seen the talk through, well, I'm gonna go a little bit faster here on the other two. And I guess I don't need to tell you how to do every one of them. I mean, you guys have seen now. So pardon me while I put this in express mode to make a few more cookies. Like I say, we'll start out just like before because the butter is cooled and so this is getting a little thicker. We're gonna kind of smear this out some. With the pan being warm, it melts in, and we'll smear this guy out, and then we'll smear the other one out. Now the biggest thing is when you lift, make sure you don't leave a peak, otherwise your fortune cookie's got one little hard spot. All right, and once again, we go in for 10 and we just rinse and repeat until I either run out of fortunes or run out of batter. Let's see which happens. Get ready for the soundtrack. All right, last batch out. Now, like you guys have been noticing, you gotta work quick. I tried to do this with 4. Well, you know what happened with the 4th one? We ate it. These things are hot, I tell you what, there is no doubt. All right, set you, put a little bend on you. Now, it don't take but a few minutes right there, and they're set. Like, by the time I could make another batch and put them in the oven, they'd be cooled off and they'd be set. All right, done burned my fingers. All right, let's set this out of the way. And there you have it, never before seen chocolate fortune cookies. Ooh, and they are so good. And I tell you what, the coolest thing, you open them up. Now, you made them, so you know the rest. You know the fortune in there, but the people who don't, well, they get to hear that satisfying. Let me get to the mic. Oh, the crunch of it. The taste, because I don't know about you, I really like fortune cookies. And sometimes you find the coolest fortunes out there. You guys take care. This is so freaking good. And it amazed me that there's not like 500 other recipes out there for some chocolate egg roll or some, golly, we have us some chocolate. I'm having freaking brain farts. This is where a bigger bowl would have actually come in handy, but I don't have a bigger glass bowl.